There's a man sitting in his truck right now in a parking lot. Engine off, phone face down. He's been there for 47 minutes. He's not scrolling, he's not on a call, he's not doing anything. He's just sitting. Because inside that house, he has to be strong. At that office, he has to be strong. With those friends, he has to have his shit together. But in that truck, for those 47 minutes, he doesn't have to be anything at all. And if you've ever been that man, if you've ever sat in your car longer than necessary because going inside means putting the mask back on, then what I'm about to tell you is going to feel like someone just described your entire life in a language you forgot you knew. I'm going to show you something that will make you question everything you were taught about being a man. Something that's been killing you slowly from the inside out since you were a boy. Something that everyone praised you for while it hollowed you out like a rotting tree. And here's the part that's going to piss you off. You did this to yourself. Not because you're weak, but because you were trying so hard to be strong. 2,300 years ago, a philosopher named Aristotle watched men destroy themselves the exact same way. He wrote a warning about it. We called it outdated, irrelevant, weak. Meanwhile, male suicide rates climbed to the highest in recorded history. Depression became epidemic, and strong men started dying in silence. What if the ancients weren't primitive? What if we are? Let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Not productive, not accomplished, not fine. Actually alive. When was the last time something moved you so deeply you couldn't hide it? When was the last time you laughed until your stomach hurt? When was the last time you cried? And I don't mean teared up at a sad movie. I mean really cried. Sobbed. Let it out. If you're sitting there trying to remember, if the answer is measured in years instead of days, then you already know what I'm talking about. You're not depressed, at least not in the way people usually mean it. You're not sad. You're nothing. And somehow, that's so much worse. You go through the motions. You wake up. You handle your responsibilities. You provide. You perform. You do everything you're supposed to do. But somewhere along the way, you stopped feeling it. Your kid does something incredible and you think that's good instead of feeling overwhelming pride. Your wife reaches for your hand and it feels foreign, mechanical. You got the promotion you've been chasing for 3 years, and within 48 hours, it just feels like another box checked. People around you are laughing, crying, celebrating, and you're watching them like you're behind glass. You can see life happening. You just can't touch it anymore. Your girlfriend says you never open up, and you genuinely don't know what she means. Open up to what? There's nothing there to open up to. It's just empty. Your friends talk about their struggles and you nod along, but you can't remember the last time you actually told someone what's really going on inside. Mostly because you don't even know anymore. You've become very good at appearing fine. So good that everyone believes it, including you. Most of the time. Except in those moments. Those moments in the truck, or the shower, or lying awake at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling. When the mask comes off and you're alone with the silence inside your own head. And that silence is deafening. You know what nobody tells you? This didn't happen overnight. This has been building since you were a child. Every time you cried and someone said, "Big boys don't cry." Every time you showed fear and someone told you to man up. Every time you expressed emotion and got punished for it with shame, with mockery, with isolation. You learned. Like any intelligent animal, you learned which behaviors got rewarded and which ones got punished. Crying? Punished. Showing fear? Punished. Expressing pain? Punished. Being stone? Rewarded. So you became stone. You built walls, thick ones, strong ones, impenetrable ones, to keep the pain out, to keep the fear out, to keep the weakness out. And it worked. Rejection couldn't hurt you anymore. Loss couldn't break you. Fear couldn't paralyze you. You became the strong one, the reliable one, the one who keeps his cool when everyone else is falling apart. Your boss promoted you because you handle pressure well. Your family depends on you because you're always so calm. Your friends respect you because you never let things get to you. Society looked at you and said, "Now that is a man." And you believed them. You wore that armor every single day. It became your identity, your survival mechanism, your entire personality. You forgot you were even wearing it, until one day, someone you love looks at you and says, "I feel like I don't even know you anymore." And you realize, neither do you. Here's what they don't tell you about building walls around your heart. You don't get to choose what stays out and what stays in. You think you're performing surgery, cutting out the bad parts, keeping the good. But you're not a surgeon. You're performing an amputation, and amputations aren't precise. Let me explain how this actually works. Your emotional system isn't like a soundboard where you can turn down the sadness slider but keep the joy slider maxed out. It's one interconnected network. When you suppress one emotion, you dim them all. You can't selectively numb. Kill the sadness, you also kill the joy. Suppress the fear, you also suppress the excitement. Block the anger, you also block the passion. Remove the vulnerability, you remove the intimacy. This is neuroscience, not philosophy. When you shut down your limbic system's response to pain, you're shutting down its response to pleasure too. You can't have one without the other. So you started building these walls to protect yourself from pain. And slowly, without realizing it, you locked yourself in a prison. Let me show you what you lost. Joy. Remember when you used to get excited about things? When Christmas morning felt magical? When your team winning actually made you want to jump up and scream? Now your team wins the championship and you think cool and go back to scrolling. You got the promotion you've been working toward for 5 years. You thought you'd feel something, anything. Instead, it registered as good for about 6 hours. Then it was just Tuesday. Your kid takes their first steps and everyone's crying and cheering and you're filming it thinking, I should be feeling more than this. But you don't. You can't. The joy circuit is dead. Love. You tell your partner, I love you, because you're supposed to, because you know it's true. Intellectually, you know it's true. But when was the last time you felt it? Not thought it, felt it. That overwhelming warmth, that certainty, that I would burn the world down for you feeling. It's been years, hasn't it? Now intimacy feels like a performance. You're going through the motions, saying the right words, doing the right things, but you're not present. You're not there. She can feel it. She's been telling you for months, maybe years. It's like there's a wall between us. There is. You built it, and now you can't figure out how to take it down, because you don't even remember how you built it in the first place. Grief. Your father dies, or your best friend, or someone you've known your entire life, and everyone falls apart around you. But you're the strong one. You handle the arrangements, you comfort everyone else, you give the eulogy without breaking. Everyone says, I don't know how you're holding it together. You're not holding it together. You're not feeling it. The grief is there, somewhere, building up like water behind a dam. But you can't access it. The wall won't let you. So you bury it, like you've buried everything else. And 6 months later, you're sitting in your car in that parking lot again, staring at nothing, feeling like something inside you is rotting. Because it is. Unprocessed grief doesn't disappear. It decomposes inside you. Excitement, passion, anticipation, wonder, all of it, gone. Everything is beige now, flat, two-dimensional. You're alive, but you're not living. You're breathing, but you're not feeling. You're here, but you're not present. You've become a ghost in your own life. And here's the cruelest part. Nobody notices. Because you've gotten so good at performing fine that even the people who love you most can't see the decay happening inside. They see the mask, the armor, the strong, silent man who has it all together. They don't see the hollow space behind it. And you've learned not to show them. Because the one time you tried to crack that door open, to let someone see inside, they said, "I need you to be strong right now." So you closed it again, locked it, threw away the key. And now you can't find it even when you want to. Now here's where this gets interesting. What I just described to you isn't new. 2,300 years ago, in ancient Greece, Aristotle was watching the exact same thing happen to men in Athens. And he wrote a warning about it that should have changed everything. But we ignored it, called it outdated, irrelevant, philosophy for people with too much time on their hands. And now we're paying the price. Aristotle had this concept called the doctrine of the mean. It's simple, almost too simple. Virtue, he said, exists between two extremes. Too much of anything is a vice. Too little is also a vice. The virtuous man operates in the middle. Take courage, for example. Too much courage? That's not bravery, that's recklessness. You'll get yourself killed taking stupid risks. Too little courage? That's cowardice. You'll never stand up for anything that matters. Real courage is in the middle. It's being afraid and acting anyway. Here's the key that everyone misses. You have to feel the fear for courage to exist. Without the emotion, there is no virtue. There's just numbness. A man who feels no fear isn't brave. He's broken. Now apply that to anger. Modern society tells you, never be angry. Anger is weakness. Anger is toxic. Real men stay calm. But Aristotle said something completely different. He said, anybody can become angry, that is easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not easy. That is virtue. Read that again. Aristotle isn't saying, don't be angry. He's saying, be angry. But be angry appropriately. There are things in this world that should make you angry. Injustice should make you angry. Cruelty should make you angry. Seeing someone you love being harmed should make you furious. If you don't feel anger at those things, you're not virtuous. You're dead inside. The problem isn't the anger. The problem is when you're angry at the wrong person, at the wrong time, with the wrong intensity, expressed in the wrong way. That's when anger becomes destructive. But the solution isn't to kill the anger, it's to refine it, direct it, make it useful. The same applies to every emotion: grief, joy, fear, love, all of them. They all have a proper time, a proper place, a proper intensity. The man who never grieves isn't strong, he's disconnected. The man who never fears isn't brave, he's reckless. The man who never gets angry isn't peaceful, he's a coward who's abandoned justice. What modern masculinity taught you wasn't emotional mastery. It was emotional amputation. And there's a massive difference. Suppression says, don't feel it, push it down, ignore it, be strong. Mastery says, feel it fully, understand it, direct it appropriately, express it at the right time, in the right way, to the right degree. Suppression creates the volcano, the man who's calm for months until he explodes at his family over nothing. Mastery creates the warrior, the man who feels fear and acts anyway, who feels grief and still gets up in the morning, who feels anger and channels it into justice instead of destruction. You were taught suppression and told it was strength. Aristotle proved it was suicide, slow suicide, but suicide nonetheless. And here's the part that should terrify you. Aristotle wrote that a life disconnected from proper emotional virtue leads to one inevitable outcome. Not metaphorical misery, actual, clinical, soul-destroying misery. The kind that makes successful men with everything to live for put guns in their mouths. We're seeing it right now. Male suicide rates in the United States are the highest they've ever been. Men are 3.5 times more likely to die by suicide than women. Why? Because we've built a society that demands men violate their own human nature, that punishes them for being human, that praises them for being stone. And then we act shocked when they shatter. Let me show you exactly how this kills you. Not eventually, not theoretically, right now, today, in 3 specific ways. First, your body keeps score. You think suppressed emotions just disappear? They don't. They have to go somewhere. And when you refuse to process them mentally, your body processes them for you. That chronic back pain you can't explain? That's stored tension, literally. Muscles holding trauma you won't acknowledge. Those headaches that come out of nowhere? Unprocessed stress manifesting as physical pain. That tightness in your chest? Unexpressed grief. Your gut issues, your insomnia, your mystery inflammation that doctors can't quite diagnose. Your body is screaming at you in the only language it has left, because you stopped listening to the emotional language years ago. The research on this is devastating. Chronic emotional suppression leads to heart disease, autoimmune disorders, chronic pain syndromes, digestive issues, sleep disorders, and a significantly shorter lifespan. Men die on average 5 years earlier than women. Not because of genetics, because of suppression. You're not handling it. You're killing yourself slowly. Second, it destroys your relationships. Every single one. Your partner tells you, I need you to open up, and you genuinely don't understand what that means. Because the part of you that knows how to do that was amputated years ago. She says, I feel like there's a wall between us. She's right, there is. You built it brick by brick, starting when you were 8 years old, and learned that showing emotion gets you hurt. Now she's trying to reach you and she can't. She's looking into your eyes trying to find something, anything, a flicker of the person she fell in love with. But you're not there anymore. You're somewhere behind the wall, locked away, safe. And she's exhausted from trying to climb it. Eventually, she stops trying, and you wonder why you feel like roommates. Your kids. Your son wants to hug you, and something in your chest just won't unlock. You love him. You know you love him. But you can't show it the way he needs you to. So he learns the same lesson you did. That men don't feel. That fathers don't show affection. That strength means distance. And the cycle continues. Your daughter will grow up and marry someone emotionally unavailable because that's what safety looks like to her. Because that's what you showed her. The amputation isn't just killing you, it's being passed down. Your friends. You don't have friends anymore. Not real ones. You have acquaintances, drinking buddies, guys you watch the game with. But nobody knows you, because you don't let them. Every conversation stays surface level. Work, sports, safe topics. Nobody talks about what they're actually going through. Because you learned a long time ago that vulnerability gets punished. So you're surrounded by people and completely alone. And you tell yourself that's just how men are. But it's not. It's how broken men are. The Greeks had deep, intimate male friendships. Philosophical conversations that lasted all night. Bonds that made them willing to die for each other. American men have fantasy football leagues and awkward silence. We traded depth for safety, and we're dying of loneliness. Third, the existential destruction. This is the big one. You did everything right. You followed the rules. You achieved the success. You built the life. Career? Check. Money? Check. Family? Check. Respect? Check. Everything society told you would make you happy. And you feel nothing. You're sitting on top of the mountain you spent 20 years climbing, and all you can think is this it? Because it is. This is it. And it's empty. Aristotle warned about this specifically. He distinguished between external goods and internal goods. External goods: money, status, achievement, power. Internal goods: meaning, connection, joy, love, purpose. You can have all the external goods in the world, but without internal goods, you have nothing. And you amputated your access to internal goods decades ago. So now you're rich and empty, successful and miserable. You won everything and lost yourself. And the worst part? You can't even talk about it. Because everyone looks at your life and says, "What do you have to complain about?" So you smile, you nod, you perform gratitude, while inside, you're screaming. So what now? You're sitting there realizing I just described your entire life. The emptiness, the numbness, the walls. What the hell do you do about it? First, you have to admit the amputation happened. You can't heal what you won't acknowledge. And this is hard, because admitting this feels like admitting weakness. It's not. Admitting you've been numb is the first act of courage you've had in years. Second, you start small. You don't go from stone to fully human overnight. You practice noticing. When something happens and you feel that familiar nothing, pause. Ask yourself, what should I be feeling right now? Your kid does something incredible. You feel nothing. What should you feel? Pride, joy, overwhelming love. You don't have to feel it yet. Just acknowledge that it should be there. That acknowledgement is the first crack in the wall. Third, you practice appropriate expression. Start microscopic. Tell your wife, "I'm frustrated about work," instead of saying, "I'm fine." That's it. That's the whole practice. You don't have to cry. You don't have to have a breakdown. Just name one thing you're feeling, out loud, to another human. It will feel insane at first, unsafe, vulnerable. Do it anyway. Fourth, you need physical outlets. Your body is holding decades of unfelt emotion. You need to move it. Not a casual jog. I mean real physical exertion. Lift until you can't. Run until your lungs burn. Fight. Build something with your hands. This isn't about fitness. This is about release. Your body has been trying to process what your mind won't. Help it. Fifth, you practice the Aristotelian framework. When you feel an emotion, any emotion, run it through these questions. 1. Is this the right emotion for this situation? 2. Is it the right intensity? 3. Am I directing it at the right person or thing? 4. Is this the right time to express it? 5. Am I expressing it in the right way? Example: your kid breaks something expensive. You feel anger. Good. That's appropriate. Right intensity? No. It was an accident. Mild frustration is appropriate, not rage. Right target? Yes. Address it with the kid. Right time? Yes, now, but calmly. Right way? Firm explanation and consequence, not screaming. See the difference? You're not suppressing the anger. You're refining it, directing it, making it useful instead of destructive. That's mastery. That's what Aristotle meant. And here's the hardest part. You have to accept that reconnecting to your emotions means reconnecting to pain. The grief you never processed, you're going to feel it now. The fear you've been suppressing for decades, it's going to surface. The pain you've been avoiding, it's been waiting for you. This is why most men never do this. Because feeling nothing is safer than feeling everything. But safety isn't the same as living. And you're so tired of just existing. The strongest men aren't the ones who feel nothing. They're the ones who feel everything and remain functional anyway. Real warriors acknowledge fear. It keeps them sharp. Real leaders feel deeply and make hard decisions. Real fathers cry at weddings and teach their sons to fight. Integration, not amputation. Feel the grief and still get up in the morning. Feel the fear and still do what's right. Feel the anger and channel it into justice, not destruction. Feel the love and let it give your life meaning. That's strength. Not the fake strength of being stone. Real strength. The kind that Aristotle knew. The kind the Greeks embodied. The kind we forgot. You've been walking around with phantom limbs for years. Parts of you that were cut off so long ago, you forgot they existed. But your body remembers. Your relationships remember. That hollow feeling remembers. You didn't become stone because you're weak. You became stone because you were trying to survive a world that punishes men for being human. And it worked. For a while. But survival isn't the same as flourishing. And you weren't put on this earth to just survive. You don't have to choose between being strong and being human. The ancient Greeks never did. Real strength is emotional integration, not emotional amputation. It's feeling the full spectrum of human experience and using those emotions as fuel for virtue, for courage, for justice, for love, for meaning. You're not broken beyond repair. You're just operating with missing pieces. And what was cut off can grow back. But only if you're willing to feel the pain of reconnection. Only if you have the courage to be vulnerable. Only if you're ready to be human again. Aristotle knew which path led to human flourishing. The question is, do you have the courage to feel?